Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
Welcome back, everybody. Mr. Jeff Ross in the house. Well, Jeff was in the house. Where did you go? We are on are we streaming live? We did a switch. We are hitting our 8th hour. Great job, everyone who was here in the beginning at 9 a.m. How many speakers have we seen today? Oh my gosh, speakers and panels and amazing insights. Would love if in the chat you guys could put down some of the things that you're really taking away from today. What's those golden things that you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to apply that? One of the things that I loved, and I wrote it down just from this last one, was if it's not an F yes, it's an F no. I'm going to have to remember that one because unfortunately I think sometimes I'm a yes person. But now I just want to be an F and yes person.
Oh my goodness, that is funny. Well, Misty, that was great. And I'm gonna have you introduce yourself. Misty is our business psychologist and women as leaders. And tell us more about your leadership style.
Oh my gosh. So I was kind of thrusted into leadership. I didn't want it. I just liked working with kids. I did many years working with at-risk youth and foster youth and kids in treatment. And I like just hanging out and playing. I guess back then it was like Super Nintendo and going for walks and coloring with them and just hearing them and listening to them. And I was getting really great results. Kids were getting better. And so my boss asked me to be a supervisor over the other staff. And I said, no, thank you. They're adults. I'm here to change the lives of kids. And so she asked, how many kids' lives do you think you change? And I said, probably I could work with about 20 a year. I think I do a good job, right? And she said, that's selfish. Get out of my office. And I was surprised because I thought I was going to get cookies or a trophy. And I said, I don't understand. She's like, if you work with the other staff and you teach them to each work with 20, that's over 100 kids a year that you're impacting. That's more kids impacted if you were to step into the role of leader. And that sort of got me thinking, because I remember I didn't mind being a leader when I was playing sports like basketball, volleyball. I liked being the team captain, and I didn't think the two were the same. I thought a leader was a boss until I started to work at a really great company where that leader was someone I wanted to be, was a great mentor. And when I realized, wait a minute, a boss isn't a leader. A leader is a leader, and I could be a team captain and be stepping that leadership and just motivate others. Yeah, that's the job for me. And I just continued to climb the leadership ladder until I made director and started creating and directing programs of my own.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And as a business psychologist, tell me about what are the things that you do within yourself to help yourself apply the things, because we all know more than we actually do. How do you actually apply the things that you teach?
One of the main things that I learned right away, and I don't know if it was like a shortcut or a hack, was always find someone where I want to be. So if I wanted to be like the world's best coach, I want to go get next to the world's best coach. If I wanted, to be a cook, I'm going to hang out with Chef Rosie. It's looking for those who are, I think it was, learned it from Tony Robbins. One of the CDs is, don't reinvent the wheel, go find someone who's where you want to be and do what they do. So for me was finding those amazing mentors like Michael Silvers, Mo Rock, just getting into their presence. You, Karen, you're one of the people that I love and look up to and get to be around and see all the amazing things you're doing. And we have conversations where we're meant to be like 2 minutes and like 30 minutes later, we're both like, oh, we got to go. but it's having those conversations with other leaders, especially today. When I got to watch today, and you know, like sometimes I think, oh, I'm doing a big impact. And then you hear like the one lady that's, oh, I'm working with terrorism across the world. It was like, oh my God, like there's still so much more that I want to know and do and more people to meet and just get in their space.
Right. And I have to say, I love your humble heart, Misty, because you do want to learn from other people. And that is something that differentiates you from other leaders, because you feel like there's something that each person can teach you, and you are curious and you value other people. And I just love that about you. That is a wonderful characteristic.
Thank you.
I also wanted to point out that Jenny Ray said a boss isn't necessarily a leader. Many times the person who has the title is not the one who is the leader. Can you speak to that for us, Misty?
Oh my gosh. I had the honor, in one of my programs, we hire a therapist, and a gentleman came, and he was one of the highest titles you could go in the Navy without being an officer. And so he literally ran when the ships are out, he was like the main person, because the officers fly in and fly out, like they have to leave and there's other political stuff and meetings, but he's the one that ran the ship. And I was talking to him one time because I wanted to get more leadership advice from him. And he said the weirdest thing that it really just stuck with me. He said, I never let them, the men and women on the ship were so mad at me because I never let them play competitions against each other, like basketball or like they're never, he's like, we could all play, but we never had winners and losers. He's all, because when we went to war and eventually like we're preparing for war, I couldn't have them mad at each other consciously or subconsciously. So he said, never put your team into competition. How do you always keep your team in collaboration? Because unfortunately, sometimes people hold grudges even for small stuff. And so that it always kind of kept that with me, is even a fun competition, how do we keep it fun and light so that the team wants to still work with one another and not start to resent or have that frustration?
Wow, that's really interesting, because yeah, there's the friendly competition, there's the competition that can even be intense at the moment, but then you're still a team afterwards.
Yeah. And he said the officers would come on the ship, and then they would give orders, but before the orders, all would look at him, and he would have to do like a slight nod, like, because what I got from it when I was studying it, we had conversations, was because he was there with them. The trust was there, the connection. Like he mentored them. He was not helping them tie their shoe, but he was the one that they first met, and he was the one that saw something in them and pushed them. And so it was that a leader to me is one that connects and cares. That doesn't mean sometimes I've met some few people who weren't leaders, but they were good managers. They managed what needed to get done. They just weren't inspiring or you didn't want to do more.
Yeah, that's a big difference between a leader and a manager. A manager can get the task done. They can make sure that, you know, all the boxes are checked, but to inspire people, to have people have that loyalty, to have them engaged and unified as a team, that takes a real leader. Who are some leaders in your life that have inspired you?
Oh my gosh. I really read a lot. And one of the things that I love to read about is people who came from like pure adversities and then just sort of work their way out of them through faith and through what their journey was. And so one of the main ones I love, and I read it once a year, is Think and Grow Rich. Um, because I don't know if I would make that choice, to make the choice of you will not get paid for 20 years. You'll just have to follow this mission and be passionate about it. And in 20 years, you'll see the fruits from that. And to me was that the Napoleon, the passion and the connection to give up life, not give up life, but to not get paid for 20 years to stick with something you're doing. Like that to me was like, okay, like there's something more than money, or there's something more than some of the bigger variables you hear about growing up, about what you want to grow up to do.
Yeah, talk about commitment to your mission. To not get paid, but to stay with it and to believe that the fruits are going to come. That takes
And to still make changes today. Like that book was 20s, 1930s, and there's people reading it, including myself, reading it today, or like, this inspired me and I'm doing something different because of it. Like that legacy of you're still changing people's lives years after you're gone. Your wisdom or your journey is still paying it forward.
Absolutely. And Jenny Ray said, income will follow impact.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and stay with it, Sandra said. Yes. And what a choice. What a commitment. Tell us about some times when you have wanted to quit and when you stuck with it.
I think sometimes when, for me, I'm very intrinsically motivated. But I realize in the world, extrinsic stuff, like money or the vacations and stuff. So I've been working at a nonprofit for 20 plus years, but on a nonprofit, you get nonprofit pay. You make a big difference, but it's still a nonprofit. So what I had to do was look at, like, I could still love something, but step away from it to make a bigger impact. So some of the things really looking at that is, and then I love how, like, that's why I think I love Chef Rosie so much, was the closing something so successful to connect back to what was more important, to rebuild something even bigger.
Right, right. Yeah, that is so true. And one of your bigger things is your work with the foster children. What motivated you to do that?
I'm adopted. I was lucky enough, it was my maternal grandparents, but being adopted, I had different, I think, like, views of things. Now the great part was I was my grandpa's favorite out of there were 6 kids before me, so I did get to live in that, being the favorite. If you know, you know. But what really inspired me was I got to go, and when we were in sports in high school, we would go coach summer leagues and we would ref games and stuff. So I just got to hang out with kids and realizing their resilience and their passion and their energy. So I just for years was working with kids, and then I got to work with at-risk youth and realized, like, I was complaining this morning about something, but this poor kid's life, like, they're abused from a bio parent, like, or this major trauma, but they're still getting up and they're still smiling and they're willing to trust adults again, right? So it's this resilience sort of thing they had, and then getting to understand that if we could build stuff that normalizes experience, we could decrease their trauma. Because when you're not like the other kids, when you're adopted or in your foster home or even in a group home, you know it. And what the sad part is some of the normalcy gets taken away. Like when the program we run for foster youth, some foster youth never had a bedtime story read to them. And so when they graduate 10 weeks of one of our independent living skills programs, all the staff sign the book and we read to them, oh, the places you'll go. And then we give them their first book sometimes. So it's not the big things as much as it is the small things that I think sometimes we just take for granted because it was just there. I can't tell you how many stories I got at night.
Right, right. And so tell us more about, how did you develop resilience?
Sports saved my life. I have loved sports because I don't know if you could tell I did wear pink because this morning, who said that pink was the collaboration?
Yes, exactly. I think that was Marie Diamond.
It was Miss Marie Diamond. I love it. I reading her book about your home and everything. It's so great. So I always was more comfortable in my masculinity and never liked dresses. I mean, barrettes, but I grew up in the early 80s. So that was like, if you didn't dress like a girl, you were automatically a tomboy, thank God, or gay. So I never really felt in unless I was playing a sport, because on the court, I didn't need makeup and I could pull my hair back and I was good. So I got lots of validation for being good in sports. So it was something that I could just lean into. And I've had the same best friend since kindergarten. There's 3 of us, and we still text. One of them is still, we're closer, but I think I had ADHD, and as I grow up and understand, they were so loving and forgiving and just like, oh, that's Misty. Sometimes she's going to say something inappropriate or she's going to make a joke that's not funny. But I had this like safety in my friends, and I had identity in sports. So I took value from that, which allowed me to make better choices.
Wow, to have the same friend since kindergarten, that says a lot. And to be able to have a place where you excelled and where you were valued and you received, recognition and appreciation for your talents, that is very powerful. And when a lot of times when we're talking about building the self-esteem in us, we do need to find out what are our gifts. We use our gifts and our talents to make a difference. And look at what you're doing for youth everywhere, and joining with the Los Angeles Tribune with Mo's Dignity Project.
We're so excited.
Yes, that's so exciting. Can you tell us about that, how you are helping with that?
Okay, so we are drawing up paperwork, and in a few months, when everything becomes legit, we're going to have the Los Angeles Tribune Cares, which will be a nonprofit branch of the Tribune. And we're going to focus on foster youth, veterans, domestic violence, and then really giving a voice to other there's so many nonprofits doing good work, they're just not amplified. So Mo has made a commitment to amplify these other nonprofits within the magnitude of what the Los Angeles Tribune is becoming. So we're excited about that. But one of the things is sometimes when kids are moved from home to home in the foster system, they're only given garbage bags, and they don't have suitcases, they don't have throw bags. And so when Mo learned this, he was like, he was just taken back. And because he's such a deep guy when it comes to psychology, and if you ever get a chance to talk to Mo, talk to Mo. And he said, if I'm putting my stuff in the trash, I'm going to think I'm trash. And he's like, and so we're already doing a disservice. So we are working with some get some politicians. We're going to get some ground roots going and get it federal, but we want to make it illegal to have a kid leave one place to go in another and have a trash bag.
Oh, yes, because what does that say? I mean,
Yeah.
you're the small amount of things that belong to you and they go in a trash bag. Absolutely. Thank you for that work that you are doing, Misty. If you had one more thing that you would like to offer to us as women who are leading, what piece of advice would you offer to us?
One of the things that I wish I would have done early on was find and talk to other women leaders. Sometimes in your companies, when you're at the top, it's hard because you can't talk to your staff. You can't talk to like sometimes your spouse doesn't connect because they don't understand the industry or stuff. But it's maybe finding other women who are where you're at or who are right where they were, like maybe mentoring someone but really looking at if I can get as soon as I got into deeper conversations and learned more about books and resources and just getting to talk to them about how they navigated stuff, I think I became a better leader. But sometimes I don't know, as women, there's some that they are very taken back. Like I'm perfection and I don't want to know people that I'm not doing so well. Well, it's not about not doing so well. It's about doing even better. It's about getting around others, getting mentoring, investing in yourself so that you could impact even more lives.
Right. Yes. Women talking to other women and having those conversations. And, we talked about with Elizabeth Angel about bioharmonize and finding those communities. And that's what we offer at the Los Angeles Tribune Women's Journal is a community of women like Misty that are heartfelt, that are serving, that want to lift each other. So Misty, thank you so much for being such an excellent leader and for loving so deeply, for loving widely, and for caring about so many. I appreciate you being in my life, and I
Oh my
appreciate
gosh. Thank you. And kudos to you for hour 8, and you're still as lovely as 9 a.m. this morning.
Well, thank you so much, Misty, and thank you for co-hosting with me. And I just loved having you with us. Wow. All right. Yeah. So if you are watching us right now, we had to switch to another stream because we had so many wonderful women that wanted to be on with us. So if you could take out your phone and go down to the bottom of the Facebook feed and share. And share with the people that you know so they can get back on and know that we are still here. We're still going strong because we are beautiful women having beautiful conversations about leadership. And there is still more to come. So thank you so much. Our next guests are Debbie Prediger and Jenny Reyes. And we had Debbie on earlier she was our co-host with Ashley Borromeo. And so I am going to let Debbie introduce herself and then introduce Jenny for us.
Oh, wow. Well, it's my privilege. Karen, so many people have said kudos to you, but I know what it takes to do this, and you are phenomenal. And there's so many people supporting you that you don't even know. So good for you. Let's go. Okay, so my name is Debbie Prediger. I am the founder of Empowering You Community and also the brand new Be Extraordinary Women's Network, where I am celebrating and honoring extraordinary women making extraordinary moves across the globe. And it is my honor to work, and actually we're collaborating. I'm just going to throw that out there, is that Karen, Jenny, and myself are actually collaborating right now. And so we are living that collaboration actually works. And so I am honored to introduce you to my friend Jenny Reyes. Jenny is somebody that I met a few years ago in another community. She stood out. She is a bright light. You can just see her as soon as she walks in the room. But I'm not sure that everybody knows how much magic Jenny actually has and how she can create that and put it all together. She's a branding integrator, not just a strategist. She integrates you personally into your life. What does that look like for the inside and the outside? And she has definitely helped me get clearer on my branding. And so, Jenny, thank you for joining us today.
Well, hi, everybody, and thank you for having me. And Karen, thank you again, and congratulations for putting on such a wonderful event. And I'm happy to be here.
Well, we are happy you are here. So, Jenny, if you could tell us about one of your amazing tools that you help leaders to develop their zone of genius, could you talk to us about this?
Awesome. Well, I stumbled in my leadership journey as well, with different teams. I work with many different teams. And one of the tools that I had stumbled upon was Patrick Lencioni's Working Genius. And I loved it so much that I decided to certify as a facilitator so that I could use it and teach it and help others, live and love and work in their zone of genius so that everybody is in their zone of productivity, joy, and fulfillment, so that you can be there and not get burned out and not get frustrated and all those things. Yeah.
Yes, and can you tell us just a little bit more about how this relates to what you are doing right now?
And so, I mean, anytime you're in branding or you're in marketing and you're in a strategy, you're always working with teams. And like Debbie had said, we are all, on a team as well. And being able to understand yourself and understand others. I believe other people on the stage earlier have spoken about, self-awareness being key. It helps to know, like, what is it that lights you up? What is it that is natural for you to be able to do, so that you can do that and then have other people, do what they love to do, so that you work all in harmony and as a team, and nobody's frustrated and nobody's burned out, and there's less conflict and there's less stress, right? And I believe Debbie and I were talking about collaborative leadership earlier, and Debbie, if you wanted to share a little bit about that, and how you help each other and look to each other for each other's strengths, so that you can get more done.
Yeah, I definitely can, if that's all right, Karen, to just hop right in there.
Yes.
Jenny, you led that right into that beautifully, and so I'll take advantage of that. So collaborative leadership is a new buzzword, but it's actually been something that I've been living for years, generations. And I've always believed that we're not here to do it alone, and I know that we hear that a lot as well right now. But as people are jumping on the collaborative bandwagon, they're running into a few struggles. And so what I love to do is to be able to hold people and really work through that. Because if you possibly have a little bit of a lack mentality, and I don't say that in judgment, but, just to be really aware of, like, is there still, like, you trying to show up and be the top dog? Is there still a little bit too much push? I can do it. If I do it all, then everybody will love me. That is just a little bit of the remaining of the subconscious where we've been conditioned to do that, right? Like climb the corporate ladder, shine a little brighter. But when we're truly in a collaboration that just really works, and as Jenny said, we're in our zone of genius, so it's not just about what you think you should do, but actually what fills your cup up. And then as everybody on the team actually realizes that, you step into this leadership role in a different way. And it has been really, really fun. All of the collaborations that I do, it's been fun as we peel back the layers and actually fully step into our power and our leadership role as we do this.
Yes. And Debbie, that's so true, that collaborative leadership is really important. Instead of having competition, having collaboration. And so I'm just going to ask you, Debbie, I'm going to go back to Jenny in just a minute, but how are some ways that you have experienced things in your life that have helped you to have that philosophy of collaboration?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I wasn't always this way. I was a people pleaser for a long time. I received validation if somebody told me I was doing great work, right? I didn't actually probably receive love in the ways that most children do. And so it was do more, be seen, and maybe even be respected. But at the end of it, and we've heard about a lot of people today talk about it, is that I didn't really see myself and I didn't really respect myself. And to be honest, I probably didn't even love myself. And so this collaborative leadership came because it was something I craved. I was so tired of doing life alone. I was so tired of trying to prove myself to others so that I could prove myself to myself. And it really, through all of the mentorship that I've received, it really come to this place finally that, I thrive in collaboration. I thrive when we're standing shoulder to shoulder on the same team. I thrive when I don't feel like I'm fighting for my spot. And because of that, I have helped others lean into that, because I really do believe that's what brings us joy and energy and fulfillment.
Oh my goodness, mic drop. You thrive when you know that you have a space and that you're not fighting for that space. Oh, so good, Debbie. So good. Jenny, how about you? Tell us because you have such a spirit of collaboration as well. How have you gained that philosophy for yourself?
The spirit of, well, I've been on many different teams. And, sometimes I'm in the team that ends up like catching everything and doing everything. And then, in that spirit of, I want to help, right? And then realizing like I'm actually stretching myself too thin, or I'm saying yes when I really wanted to say no. And so finding those, knowing myself and understanding that these are things that I know I love to do. These are things I'm good at doing, but maybe I don't necessarily love to do. And these are things that I do because I said yes to, and I really don't want to do them. And then going, okay, it is much better if I don't do this alone. And, I think we say it as well, like it's a more effective team is better than an effective leader any day, because you have more hands. It makes for light work. Also, then everybody comes together with the same mission. And so understanding that and going, who is it that I can reach out to and ask for some help, and be able to receive that help back to say, okay, I know I would do it this way, but because I'm not actually doing it, you can do it your way and we'll still get maybe even an even better result. And so a little bit of leaning in and letting go of some of that control so that other people can also shine. And it actually looks much better on the outside and feels better on the inside. So I feel like that's how it came about.
Wow, that you made such a great point that a collaborative team is better than the leader, because there's so many more minds together that are working together, and the synergy that comes when you have a collaborative team is very powerful. And Debbie says it so well. If you have one brain, it's one brain, but if you have two brains together, you have 13 brains.
There you go.
And so, Debbie, I would like to know, what is something that you have learned as a leader that you wish you would have known when you were younger?
Well, I think that what I wanted to learn about leadership is that I was a leader. I didn't know I was a leader. Every time I'd look around for somebody to lead me, and they wouldn't, and I felt lost, and I felt a little bit hopeless, and again, it felt like a burden on my shoulder. But when I actually realized that in everything, I just naturally rose to the top of being the leader, no matter what we were doing, what we were organizing, whether it was personal family stuff, or whether it was community stuff, or whether it was in big projects. And so I looked around and I'm like, so why am I not leading? And it was a worthiness. I wasn't fully allowing myself to step into that identity. And when I did, when I looked around and said, well, why not? I realized that there was some old traumas. And some of the traumas were, what if I fail and let everybody down? What if they leave me? What if they abandon me? What if they don't like me? And, it's hard to stand on a global women's leadership Symposium stage and say that out loud. But I have permission to say that because of so many women that have said it even better than I did. And so really stepping in and realizing that I was the one that I was looking for, that I was the one that I was meant to lead. And then as people started seeing me and expressing that back to me, Debbie, I love the way you hold space. I love the way that you connect the dots. I love the way you lead. I love being in your energy. I realized, why am I looking for somebody else to fill this spot? Let me do this. I can do this.
Right. Yes. And you said what we talked about with Becky Robbins, that you are the one that you've been waiting for. And so many times we think it's going to be somebody else, but we are that person that we've been waiting for. Thank you, Debbie, so much for pointing that out. And Jenny, how about you? What is something that you wish you would have known sooner?
One thing I wish that has come to me, is to think that leadership is a privilege and it's not necessarily something that is a burden, right? Some people say, oh, I have to lead. Well, there's so many different ways people can lead. It's not necessarily always from the front. We talk about people who can lead from within, people who can lead from the side, and some will even lead from the back to make sure that everybody is included, right? There are just so many different ways and styles. And I mean, I am in the space of branding, so I always say it's your own brand of leadership. And that is a privilege to be able to do that, to share that, to say that, and to be able to showcase that instead of thinking that, oh my goodness, I have so many people that are depending on me. It's more of, I get to do this and I get to showcase my own skills, and I get to meet other people and learn from other people. And I feel that was something that came to me, when I was watching some other leaders and mentors, and it was like, oh, we get to do this. This is a great honor and a privilege to be able to lead others in the way that we know how. So I feel like that was something I wish I knew sooner.
Right. I love that. So many people that resonated with it's a privilege to lead. And it really is a privilege to get to lead and to get to have an influence over the people that you are leading. And thank you so much for bringing that up. I want to go back to something that you were talking about, Debbie, because I think people pleasing thwarts us in our ability to lead. And so as we were, just kind of dabbling in that, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier during the day. But Debbie, if you could talk to us about the role of people pleasing and how it inhibits our ability to lead.
Well, I will talk about it from my perspective. I am definitely not an expert, although I have life experience in it. And what happened in my life is people pleasing became a way of validation and of receiving love in a small way, but it really was. And I didn't know that at the time. Nobody could have told me that. But my body completely shut down. And it was because of the emotional pain that I was in, because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what lit me up. I didn't know anything other than just doing for other people. So I was the go-to person for everybody. And I thought that was great. I thought that was wonderful because somebody needed me. However, through all of the work that I have done, the inner work, I started to realize, wow, I was really coming from a place of lack. I was really coming from a place of not being seen or heard or validated or even loved. In my opinion, I did not know that I was loved. And so what it did for me is it took me down a road where my body shut down. And so people pleasing is draining. It's exhausting. It's not life-giving. And when we stop and really look of why we're doing it, there was a lot of my nervous system was in fight or flight at all times. And, the brake and the gas on at the same time. And thank goodness my body couldn't take it. I was a nurse at the time. The doctors all tried to figure it out. I was to all the specialists. You have a brain tumor, you have MS, you have all these things. And in the end, they said, it's all in your head. So take these pills and go away. That's what you're going to live with for the rest of your life. And thank goodness I was a nurse, because I went from, I know how the body works, and I know that there's something else wrong here that they haven't figured out. And that took me down the entire journey of geeking out on the brain and the nervous system and how we can reset our limbic system and all of the things. And so I don't know if that answered your question, Karen. I don't know if that was the angle that you were trying to come from, but it was my life experience. And now when I see somebody incongruent, they're there may be a little bit of like push. I need to please people. I really pay attention to that because I believe that what I went through was what I guide others through now. I have the path forward. I can easily see the gap in that and then shift it. And I have many modalities that can help people do that now.
Yes, no, that definitely answered the question. But what I want to tell you, Debbie, is I appreciate your ability to be vulnerable and your willingness to be vulnerable, because so many people are saying in the chat how that meant something to them and that resonated with them. So thank you for sharing that. Jenny, I would like to hear from you about how people pleasing in your life has inhibited your leadership.
Well, often then, you get stuck in doing and doing and doing. When you say yes and you don't want to disappoint, and sometimes it is for maybe the wrong reason or the more wrong intention. And then you wonder, it's like you're far down and you're like, why am I doing this? What is this for? And it takes up so much of your time and your energy and your resources. And that's happened to me many, many times. And it, you don't want to be at that point where you're like, what is it that I'm doing? Again, the self-awareness, as Debbie had said, being able to do the work and look at yourself and say, okay, what am I saying yes to, what I should be saying no to? And having actually those courageous conversations and that powerful, conversations as well, to say, well, I wouldn't love to do this anymore. And maybe this is better for somebody else and something else, so that you can find what it is that lights you up, because that's where people start to follow you and start to notice you and start to go, hey, I think I would love to know what you're doing more. And, as people were talking on the stage as well about energy and how other people can feel your authenticity. And that comes through too in everything that you're doing.
Absolutely. That authenticity is just so important, and we sense that, we feel that, and so that's very important. Thank you so much, ladies. I loved hearing your thoughts, and I love your collaborative philosophies and the way that you live collaboration in all that you do. And if we could just have one parting takeaway that you would like to share with our audience, and Jenny, I'll start with you.
Oh, a takeaway. I believe in, there's no one good way to lead. The best leader is the most self-aware leader, and always just doing the work and putting yourself in a space and rooms that you can learn from others and share and ask more questions. We talk about pieces of a puzzle. We're always putting our pieces of our leadership puzzle and our brand puzzle together. And I think that is always a continuous journey. And so I hope people take away from that.
Thank you. And how about you, Debbie?
That we are all evolving and we're all growing. And it doesn't mean that we weren't good enough before. It has nothing to do with that. It means that as we raise up into a better awareness, a higher consciousness, we receive more, and there is more, and there's better opportunities. And as Jenny said, when you fully get aligned in all of that, it's like you just light up and the room just sees you and you see yourself, and everything just continues the spiral of goodness. So thank you, Karen. This has been fabulous.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for your collaborative philosophies, for the way that you live that in your own lives and in your own leadership. I'm grateful to have Debbie Prediger and Jenny Reyes here with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, great. Well, our next speaker is Sandy Hart. And so I just have to thank Ashkan Tabibnia again for connecting me with Sandy. He said to me, Sandy has the most beautiful light. She just has this amazing energy. He said, it's holy. He said she has this holy energy. And so I got on a call and I talked to her. Oh my goodness, it was so true. I mean, look at her right now. She just glows, doesn't she? She's incredible. So, Sandy, oh my goodness, Sandy, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you both. And this really is a marathon. I have been on with you all day, except I had to run out for a couple of minutes. And Karen, I am in awe. I'm in awe. The marathon, I'm like, one of my dearest friends has been on with us all day, and I'm like, did she get to like have a bio break in this? What a superstar. So thank you from the center of my soul for inviting me to be part of this. And Ashkan, oh, what a delight and an honor. Thank you.
Isn't he the most amazing connector?
Truly, there are people that you meet that just have a light that you can't describe, and you just kind of go, okay.
Well, tell us, who was your friend who was speaking today?
Marie Bailey has been on all day with us. She was the Canadian Air Force. She is a light like no other, and she has been through this whole day with us, and we've been back and forth, and we are coming to Bali. She said to me, how do we get the information on Bali? And I'm like, I will message Karen, we're coming. So,
Yes.
yeah.
We are going to give more information on the NeuroEvolve Wellness Retreat in Bali. So yes, I'll be there with you, girlfriend. Yes, we want to have Dr. Rebecca help us with our neuroscience at a cellular level. Reboot.
I have 3 sons, and all I could see when she was talking about, can you fly? And all I could see was the 4-year-old in a Batman cape, like believing full-heartedly and learning as we fall and splat that yes, we get smarter and smarter and smarter.
Wasn't that incredible that we build dendrites when we fail?
The whole day. It's I can't remember who said they have sticky notes all over the place, and I'm like, I have notes everywhere too. So brilliant.
Me too. Oh my goodness. Well, so Sandy is known as the sales synergist, and she is wildly successful in Remax real estate. And so, Sandy, if you could tell us about what was so challenging about what you were doing in real estate, and how absolutely miraculous it is that you won these multi-million-dollar awards.
Yes. Okay. Well, the challenge is, as every woman I think finds, it's the balance. It is how can you be wildly successful on paper and be wildly successful in your life. And when you put your head on the pillow at the end of the day, to feel successful. And I think that for so many of us, being a mom, being a mompreneur, and being born into the 60s, 70s, 80s, hardwired to serve, and not having the hardwired to serve self. And I think that's where the balancing act really gets tricky. And it was Sarah, I think, today that was talking about high performing A-type women that find themselves gaining weight. And Karen, I don't know if we talked about it, but in my top year, multimillionaire, Remax, top 0.002% of Remax of Western Canada. So that was number 14 out of 6,600 agents from a tiny little town in northern British Columbia. And I had no real concept while I was in it that that's what was happening. But while you're serving, you're not, like, it wasn't about goals, it was about service. But I was eating turkey bacon and scrambled eggs and green smoothies. And when she was talking today, and I was like, that's me. And I was walking 5 kilometers, which 3 miles a day. And my weight was going through the roof, and it was that chronic stress, like on that hamster wheel. And I was 224 pounds, driving around in my fancy Escalade, crying because my life was out of control. But I was successful on paper. I was winning those awards. I was in Las Vegas on the stage and looked so successful. So super grateful, because the School of Hard Knocks called life has I mean, I am so blessed, but it hasn't been an easy ride, that's for sure.
Oh my goodness. I think all of us have been there. I have gained weight, and I have turned to food for comfort, for energy, for, soothing my nervous system. I think we've all been there in those moments and wanted something different. And wait a second, is this what success looks like? Because, at that moment, it just doesn't really feel like it. But for you to come from such a little tiny town, and we were talking about how we both lived in these little towns with no stoplights, no mail delivery, it was just like no garbage truck to, pick up.
Exactly.
And yet, and in depressed economies, and then to achieve the success that you have in real estate. Can you tell me a little bit more about your success formula and what it was that helped you to achieve that massive success.
Absolutely. I truly believe that humility is a huge key. It is that level of gratitude for every single opportunity to serve. And if there was one line that I could leave the audience with, it is this. And again, I didn't recognize it until much later, but when I meet a client, my go-to, which is not made up, but it is sincere from my heart, is it is my honor and privilege to help you sell your home, buy a home, and I'm here to serve you. So you tell me what I can do. And so when it comes to listing and selling homes, it is my job is to get you the most amount of money in the least amount of time with the least amount of stress. And I will do everything that I can to do that for you. And then I go a little over and above. I videotape all of my properties and I post them and I go back and take blue sky pictures. And I know some do and many don't. And feedback constantly to just keep in touch is probably the secrets. And I'm told over and over and over again, most real estate agents aren't like you, Sandy. And I'm like, well, that's too bad.
But that attention to detail and what really rules in this situation is how much you care. You really care, and because you care, you pay attention to those details and look at how you can serve them, and then you follow up and do it. That's really, really different from most people, and I think all of us have had that experience. Most of us have been involved in some business relationship, and it's so different when the person really cares about you and really wants to serve you, and it makes you feel like the Ritz-Carlton, my pleasure. And you said that very thing. It's my pleasure to serve them.
Yes, it's the absolute center of service, and I think in sales, that who was speaking about having fun? Kimberly Crow today, about if you're not having fun, what are you doing? And I completely agree. And then into the fundamentals, fun. Make sure that you're having fun and make it fun. I had a family out just yesterday and found a Easter chicken balloon, and so we had the balloon, this little 5-year-old girl, and she's got her balloon, and her mom and dad are in the sold pictures, and we're doing dancing sold pictures, and it's just so fun. And what those families get from that, and to be able to serve on that level where it's just infusing fun into what you're doing. And I think it makes all the difference for your clients.
Your energy, and people are commenting on this and how inspirational you are. And Marie Bailey, thank you, Marie, for being with us all day long and all of your support. She said, Sandy is the real deal and she has the biggest heart. And can't you just all feel that heart? Even though you're not with her necessarily in person, you can feel that energy that comes through. And a lot of people feel like, well, I can't really connect because it's online. Yes, you can. And Sandy is connecting with us right now. So thank you, Sandy, because that love definitely comes through and we can all feel that.
Thank you, Karen. Oh, such an honor. I just am so honored to be here today. What an incredible lineup. Every speaker has just been unbelievably inspirational. So thank you for putting this together. Thank you for bringing everyone together in a room. It's just been incredible. And the amount of men, I mean, the men that have messaged me to ask for the link and the different people, Marlene, shout outs, like the people that have been messaging me today saying, when's your thing? What are you doing? And so, oh my goodness, it's just such a beautiful gathering.
Yes, a beautiful gathering. And I just have to give a shout out for the men who are making this possible, with Mo Rock at the Los Angeles Tribune for providing this opportunity for women to be able to have a stage, to share their story, to share their experiences so that women can have these conversations with each other. And so women can find you and say, oh, Sandy, I want to connect with Sandy. I'm in sales. How in the world is Sandy doing it? The real estate market is, tanking right now. I need some Sandy in my life. All of us have those opportunities because of an event like this. And so I want to thank Mo Rock for making that possible. I want to thank Michael Silvers for giving me the opportunity to do this. And Michael has given me the opportunity to be a trainer, to be a host, to be a producer, and Mo Rock as well. And also Mary Glorfield for her leadership and her mentorship to promote women, to help women get on stages, to share their stories. And Ashkan Tabibnia at 90210 Enterprises, who is also our partner, who connected us with so many of the speakers so that we could all share our stories here today. So thank you to all of the men, because you make such a big difference in our lives. I always say that, a man can give us wings to fly and give us the support that we need. We are interdependent on each other, and we can support each other, and we can provide that necessary connection that we need in this world. And we can't go alone. We know we can't go alone. And so to have a man who supports a woman is so, so empowering. And I'm so grateful for that.
All the exceptional men who make it possible, for sure. It takes a very special man to empower women to rise. And that is just the truth. To all of the men that you, especially Ashkan, because he picked me out of a networking thing and connected with me, and just what a delight. And so thank you for everything to those men, and to you, Karen. Wow. Just wow.
Well, thank you, Sandy, for being with us today. It was great to have you on this show, and we just love your energy. We love how you glow. We love your serving heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Wow, was that just so fun? Oh my goodness. All right. Well, so our next guest, we have Ava Manuel, who is the editor-in-chief at the Los Angeles Tribune, and so much more. We also have Barbie Ray, who is going to host this panel, and Alicia is coming, I believe. And so she is going to be with Ava today, and I would love to have her join us so that we can hear from Alicia, who is the new chief strategy officer at the Los Angeles Tribune. So we have these powerhouse women. Ava is working with the bestseller list and she is just expanding. Every time I pull something up, there's Ava doing this new program. And so congratulations, Ava, to all of your new ventures and being a leader and helping other women to have permission to lead as well. Thank you, Ava.
Thank you so much, Karen. First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being the example of what women can achieve, what women can aspire for, what women can step into. Thank you for being the courageous leader that stepped into saying yes to the women's journal, the Los Angeles Tribune Women's Journal, for creating the Women's Global Symposium, and Barbie Ray, thank you for being at the helm of support. I am so inspired by the movement that you all are creating among women. It's so important for us as women that we lift each other up, that we hold hands together, that we strengthen one another and we encourage one another. And you do exactly that. Your presence, Karen, exudes support, exudes uplifting other women, and women gather around you for that reason. So I appreciate you. I acknowledge you. And thank you for what you do at the Los Angeles Tribune.
Well, thank you so much, Ava. And you are a mentor to me. I remember when we sat and we just talked about mentorship and about how you were coaching and how you were teaching women to lead and the spiritual aspect of it and all of the things that you have overcome in your life. And so thank you for being a mentor to me. As I watch you go, I just am cheering for you over here saying, go, go. And you give me that courage to take those steps as well. So I want to thank you, Ava, for being that role and that voice for other women until they can find that voice for themselves.
Thank you, Karen. And I look at all of our audience, the people who have been commenting since early on. It's been a whole long day, over 8 hours long now. And we have such a family of, supporters and a family of lovers, not just support, but loving too, at the Los Angeles Tribune. And we are so grateful for each and every one of you. And what we do is always not about ourselves, but about who we serve, right, Karen? And that's what gets us going. So it's not so much about what Ava does and what she's doing. Everything that I do is to elevate, leaders, is to elevate entrepreneurs out there. One thing that I love about the principle of our CEO, Morak, is, well, two things. One is giving voices, to women, giving a platform for women. And second is elevating entrepreneurs. We love entrepreneurs, and we wanted to be able to support credible entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs who really do what they say they will do, to be able to, lend the credibility and the authority of the Los Angeles Tribune from 1886, known for its integrity, and lend it to, our entrepreneurs who are really all out there wanting to create an impact and a greater difference in the world. And we're here to be the wings beneath their wings, and to be the force on their backs, so that's what we love to do, whether it's books or it's news or it's event speaking, or the different aspects of the Los Angeles Tribune that continues to grow, that podcast, like Speakers Bureau, like film making, business solutions. It's an ever expanding opportunity to be able to support greater entrepreneurs and women out there. So thank you for everyone who's in our community, who continues to be around us, because one of the things is subconsciously we absorb what we're around, who we're around with. So thank you for being around us.
Yes, absolutely. We are the sum of the
100%.
Well, I want the audience to know Barbie Ray. So Barbie Ray is an empowerment coach. Barbie is, as Ava said, she is incredibly supportive. In fact, when we have gotten on events together, Barbie and I have broken the Facebook algorithm and then the YouTube algorithm. And Barbie was doing this when she had her rotator cuff torn. She was still typing like a maniac, just support. And that is the essence of Barbie and her leadership. She is so unselfish. She is willing to serve. We were at Barnes & Noble. We had a live event there. And Barbie, even though she has this injured arm, is using her good arm to move chairs. And no, she's not just going to sit back and let somebody else serve. No, she's going to be right there in the trenches helping people. Barbie also has had an incredible adversity in her life, and she helps people know that the only limitations that they have in front of them or above them are the ones that they create. And she helps people uncover those limiting beliefs so that they can be free and liberated, and they can soar and they can achieve their potential. So Barbie, thank you so much for being with us today. You're a beautiful light. You are such an angel, always so unselfish, never thinking about what you are going to get, but thinking about what you can give. So thank you, Barbie, for your beautiful leadership.
If I may add to that, Karen, have you guys seen the recent Barbie version, real life version of Barbie, the movie, Barbie the movie, and what I love about the portrayal of Barbie the movie is that she wasn't never about herself. She was about the other women around her and about community. And that's exactly what I feel about Barbie. She's the impersonation of the Barbie that's just supportive of other women, that wants to create community. So thank you for being that Barbie.
Yes.
Well, you know what? Thank you for having me here, because that's how I feel about the Los Angeles Tribune. Because you give a voice to the voiceless, you elevate women, and I love the vision, and I love what you do here. So anytime I can do anything to help and represent what you stand for, I am 100% in. My hand is raised and I'm ready to go.
Yes, that's Barbie. Yes, count me in. Yes, I want to help. Other thing about Barbie that's very interesting that a lot of people don't know is that Barbie is a model and an actress, and she is a screenwriter. She's a best-selling author, and she is a fabulous speaker. And she's a marketing expert, and she's an AI expert. It's like, is there anything Barbie can't do? She's an entrepreneur.
Windows. I don't do Windows.
But honestly, she runs a very successful $1 million company and has transformed it. And so Barbie, I kudos to you. My hat is off to you and Ava, these two powerhouses. Well, I'm going to let you take it from here, Barbie, and interview Ava. And if Alicia comes, we'll have Alicia join too. Thank you.
Thank you. And
I
you've been
believe Alicia
amazing.
isn't
too,
coming. I
Karen.
was just speaking to Alicia. I believe she didn't know she was going to be here. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, Ava, you are amazing. And I absolutely, I salute everything you do. You have been the pinnacle of women's voices and leadership. So if you don't mind sharing with us some of your vision, I really love what you stand for and giving women more stages, more opportunities. And I would love to know how you feel about it and what actually brought you to this.
So yeah, thank you so much for that question, Barbie. First of all, I couldn't speak unless I acknowledge all of the women in the chat. I'm just like looking at Nicole and Terry, and Elizabeth, Marie's here, Sandra, my good friend is also here. Of course, we've got some men in the chat. David is here too. Robin, Trisha, Ashley. Thank you for being our friends at the Los Angeles Tribune. And Barbie, going back to your question, what has inspired me? Let me think. I am a mom of 6 kids. They're not kids anymore. They're 22 to 35 years old. One of the biggest things that I say, my biggest regret in life is they just grew. I feel like I worked and worked and worked and worked, and then they just grew. It's not even fair, and so they have moved on. They're now 22 to 35 years old in different parts of the country. But what I started in entrepreneurship back in, I'd say 2012, 2013, figuring things out as a single mom of 6 teenage kids, 5 boys and 1 girl. And I felt like, although I was a physical therapist, a hospital physical therapist, geriatric clinical specialist, I feel like if all I do was be a physical therapist, I would retire comfortably, but I wouldn't be able to really achieve the big dreams that I had. And going back to the dreams, what's my dream? I was that kid in the Philippines who always wanted to save kids out of the streets. Maybe because I was lonely, maybe because I had an older brother who didn't like me, who hated the guts out of me. And I was constantly getting kids out of the street who I find sleeping on the streets to our home. And they keep running away and I didn't understand it back then, but because my mom is very strict and stringent, they are not used to having a home over their head or a schedule when to sleep, when to wake up, and they would run away. But when I was old enough, about 14, 15 years old, to teach in Sunday school, I would pick up these kids. I was as an assistant teacher in Sunday school. I would pick up these kids from streets, as many as I could pass by, and pick up, and I'd bring them to the church, and I would buy as much snacks and as much juices in little cups, and I would have the fun to teach the kids Bible teachings. And then in the evenings I would pass by where they hang out, where they sleep on the streets, and I would simply buy bread out of my own allowance. I was only in high school, and I would pass it on to the kids. So I always had this desire in my heart to get kids out of the streets. And my declaration is in my lifetime, I would clean the streets out of street children. It's not a thing. It shouldn't be a thing that kids should sleep on the street. I didn't know any better back then, but now that I know about molestations and rape, I'm like, imagine the untold stories of what happens to kids when kids sleep on the street. So whether it is in America, I'm grateful for child protective services in America, that our kids are protected, that we don't find kids sleeping in the streets, except for more like teenagers and adolescents, who fall out of the system once they age out of being 18, age out to 18. Then it becomes a challenge because there isn't enough support there. Although there's a growing support, and that's what one of our outlets here in the Los Angeles Tribune, Misty Kerrigan, who's here earlier, she does a lot with kids who age out of child protective services. But in third world countries, it's so common that kids would carry kids, and they sleep on the streets. And so that was my dream, and that's kind of like what propels me. Everything to me is a means to the end. Whether it is like we're getting more influence in the news, we're getting right now. This is the secret that one of the things that our CEO Mo Rock does is he's actually financing and funding kids to be taken care of in the Philippines, and that's without my involvement. He did that on his own. He was like he would send me pictures of the kids that he was sending. Mo, I'm asking for permission after the fact that I'm telling this. This is not something that he's done public with, but he's supporting children in the Philippines on a monthly basis, in sending money out to be able to have sufficient food for them and sufficient school supplies for them to be able to go to school. And, we have a $10 million pledge that our CEO, Mo Rock, has made for nonprofit organizations. And so we are so committed beyond just being news. And I say just, right? Because there's a traditional news, but Los Angeles Tribune has stepped out of that. We have recently been, approved for a Pulitzer Prize entry for public service under the project of Voices for Change, with the $10 million pledge for nonprofit organization that our CEO Mo Rock has made. And it has allowed a nonprofit organization that was about to close out. Well, technically they declared closing out, but when we found out that they're closing out, and we had them chosen as the Impact Organization of the Year for their groundbreaking technology that prevents serial sexual assault in universities and colleges. We wrote an article about them and created awareness on their plight that they're about to close, and that has changed the trajectory of their future. And now they raised crowdfunding. There were more people that stepped in. There was a big company that made a big donation that allowed them to stay on. And for that act, it's a proof that journalism, that news can also support, can keep organizations afloat and ongoing, can keep critical services on and open. And it's a different way that news and media is making a change in the world. And that's what excites me. That's what got me into this, is that it's all about serving, and it's all about news that inspires, educates, and empowers. So
And that is amazing. I mean, that is one of the things that I absolutely love about the Los Angeles Tribune, is you are all giving voice to the voiceless. You are all making a difference. You are bringing about change through your actions. There's a lot of people in this world that talk about things, but you make things happen. And I absolutely.
And Barbie, if I can just offer a little bit of expansion in your language. It's called we, because you are a part of it. It's not you, right? It takes the community. Everybody who's on the chat right now, who's sharing one of the best, hands down, greatest TEDx talk, probably shortest, 4-minute long, is that of our CEO, Mo Rock. And I'd like you to look it up if you haven't seen it. It's a YouTube video of Mo Rock, and he talks about how we influence not just the news that we see, but also the world that we live in by the things that we like, the things that we comment on, the posts that we share. We have a voice. Every time where we put our attention on, attention is currency. Attention is money. It's tracked in terms of like, oh, we have 8,000 viewing, 8,000 hours of viewing time. We've got 1.3 million views in the Los Angeles Leadership Week last year. And so, attention is currency. So when you give your attention to something, it's a vote. It's a vote. And so what are you voting on? Like, what are you putting your vote on in terms of what contents continues to prevail in our social media, online, in our ethos, right? And
Absolutely.
so every single one that's standing for news that's inspiring, uplifting, and educating, you get to say we, because you're a part of it. It takes a community. It takes everybody. We can't do it to me, Alicia, Mo, even Karen, Michael. Like, it's not possible. It takes a community to be able to make this difference. So thank you for being a part of it, Barbie.
Thank you. And if you look at the comments, the people you were talking about, Julie Ann and Ashley and Nicole and Debbie, they have been commenting. We have been commenting since the open this morning. So, I mean, it is all women's voices elevating other women. I mean, we have literally supported each other through everything today, unwavering, which I love. I absolutely love. And again, it just shows what an incredible community has been built here.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would like to ask you, for someone who is a woman or even a man, but for somebody especially who feels like they have the ability and is reaching right now to get to their pinnacle, to reach what their goals are, what would you suggest to them? What would be a story or a thought? How would you suggest that they reach for their dreams?
That's a very, very interesting question. And I got stuck with reaching the pinnacle because I'm not sure that there's actually a pinnacle. I feel like the pinnacle is ever moving, right? Like life is a journey. Life is a journey. When you think you have a destination, you get there, and then what? And then next what? And that's where we get to enjoy every part of the journey, right? Every single part. Because if we're so fixated with the goal, then we miss out on 99% of the journey. We gotta make it fun. We get to connect with people. We get to grow along the way. We get to celebrate our efforts. I mean, even our mistakes. One of the things that had freed me up from being able to really take risks, be willing to get it wrong, be willing to look foolish, be willing to get to look bad, be willing to fail, be willing to not get it right. Like, it takes someone who's willing to get it wrong, to make mistakes, to be able to move the needle forward. So is there really a pinnacle? Is there really a reaching a goal? But I feel like it's an evolution of just becoming. We're constantly becoming and in support. So what I would say to people who are pursuing a seemingly pinnacle or a seemingly destination is enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. Smell the roses. Appreciate the clouds and the sky, and look at the people around you, and celebrate yourself. Celebrate every step of the way. We women
Every
are
milestone.
so hard on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're so hard on ourselves. And one of the things that I discovered about myself, was that no matter how much I accomplish, I go to the next thing that I haven't. And at the end of the day, as women, we always have something that we didn't accomplish, that we didn't do, no matter how much we've done, right? And so we skip past everything that we have done and created, and we go to the next thing I didn't get to do, And I want you to, if there's anything that would massively, massively shift your confidence, shift your self-worth, shift the way you show up for people, is you celebrate yourself. Celebrate every effort that you make, regardless of the result, unattached to the result. Celebrate yourself for stepping out. Celebrate yourself for giving the time to be here. Celebrate yourself for being courageous, for making the sacrifice, for making the investment. Celebrate yourself. And when you celebrate yourself, you will, because you can only be loved and you can only be valued with the amount of love and value you give yourself. It's not possible. Anything that you don't hold, you will deflect, and so like, you see people are appreciating you and you're like, no, actually and they appreciate your clothes, and I got this on sale, because we're uncomfortable with being celebrated. So you get to be celebrated first, and you celebrate yourself. So that's my biggest recommendation.
I love that. And it's so true, because I find that a lot with people that I coach and talk to, is that they have the hardest time taking a compliment. And then they, you see them backpedal and they're not sure what to say or what to do. But the thing is I always say, embrace that love. Embrace that love, because that was a compliment that was given to you because they respect and admire what you're doing. So don't feel uncomfortable about it. Give it a hug and give yourself a hug and thank them for the grace and the love they gave you.
Absolutely. And that's a great indication, Barbie. And I know that Karen's here and we're closing my segment. What I want to say is when you notice that you're backpedaling from praises, from appreciation, from gratitudes, notice that, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that's also the same energy. You backpedal from success. You backpedal from visibility. You backpedal from, from accomplishments and achievements. So you get to lean in and receive and celebrate yourself. And I heard someone say, give yourself grace, give yourself a lot of grace, and celebrate every effort that you make.
I love that. That is how every woman and every man should live. Really. And teach your kids that, because it's just something that we don't do enough of.
Would it be okay, Karen? How many minutes do we have before we get to our next speaker?
Well, yeah, take a minute more if you need to. What would you like?
So while we're in this, I would actually want to take the opportunity to inspire everybody with a poem that I wrote. I wrote a book that haven't been published yet, one of the many that hasn't published. It's called Unstoppable Ascension, Embodying Worthiness, Unleashing the Feminine Power, and Breaking the Glass Ceiling. And in the acknowledgement, this is what I wrote, and this goes for every woman out there. I acknowledge myself for the risks I have taken, for continuing each step even when I was shaken. Though multiple failures have been part of this pursuit, I acknowledge my persistence and unwavering resolute. Even when comfort and security look bleak and disheveled, I acknowledge myself for choosing the path less traveled. Every woman out there, put your hand in your heart, acknowledge yourself. I am grateful for the people who dared hold me small. Their doubts and limitations ignited my life's call. Though loved ones disagreed, their hearts unable to see, I held on to my vision. Although sadness was hovering over me, I chose to listen to my inner voice, my soul's guiding light. And in choosing myself, I honed my own might. Equally, I am grateful for the believers by my side, the ones who saw my worth, who refused to let me hide. They uplifted my spirit, cheered me on, and held me high. Their unwavering support reminded me of my why. I am grateful for the thoughts of unworthiness and doubt, for I discovered the power of self-love and trust in my gut. I acknowledge myself for believing in me, for investing in my growth and letting me be. So here in this moment of self-loving reflection, I honor myself, every woman out there, my journey, my unique expression. Gratitude fills my heart for all that has been and the beautiful soul that I've become from deep within.
Okay, time to get that published.
Exactly. I know a good best-selling publisher, Ava.
That was fabulous.
Yeah. You are such a bright light, and the things that you have overcome have been so incredible in your life. So I think that might be me.
And I want to say that I love the fact that your journey of wanting to help people in every way has just continued, and you are reaching more and more and more people with what you do. And we thank you for that. That is a bright, shining light in the world.
Thank you. Celebrate yourself.
Yes. Yes. If you take anything from this conversation, please celebrate yourself.
Celebrate yourself.
All right. We'll hope that my alarm does not go off again. There's an alarm going off.
That's okay. I don't mind.
I'm not sure if there's a fire going on outside or what's going on, or if this building is on fire.
Well, I hadn't practiced 20 minutes of a soliloquy, but if you need me to.
Oh my goodness. But that was a great interview with Ava. And Ava is, I love to hear Ava talk. We didn't have enough time with Ava. We could
I know.
Hours.
I could have gone for hours. I mean, it was so quick.
It was so quick, and we missed Alicia. Alicia was on earlier this morning, so we are very grateful. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you that Barbie is the most incredible woman, and she is going to share with us some things that we wish that we would know. So, men, this is for you too, but women, Barbie is going to talk to us about how to understand what men are saying. She calls it mansplaining. And if you didn't hear my introduction of Barbie just a little bit ago, Barbie is an empowerment coach. She is a best-selling author. She is a marketing expert, an AI expert. She helps people find their inner dragon and be empowered and uncover their limiting beliefs so that they can achieve their potential. She helps people learn to speak, to overcome their fears, and to gain confidence in that realm. Barbie is a fabulous speaker. I mean, like I said earlier, is there anything Barbie can't do? And she said Windows. She also owns her own business, a very successful $1 million business. And Barbie, I'm just so grateful. Most of all, I'm grateful for the ways that you serve. And the ways that you serve at the Los Angeles Tribune set the example and give others the understanding of why it's so important to serve, because you build that community, you draw those people together. You are so inclusive and so heartfelt in the ways that you lift and care about other people. And that's what the Los Angeles Tribune is all about, and specifically the Los Angeles Tribune Women's Journal. And with women like you, you make it a beautiful place to be. So thank you for your values of community, of caring, of connection, of unselfish service.
Thank you so much. Wow. Whew, I'm going to cry on that one.
Barbie, tell us about your leadership journey.
Well, I'm the Grim Reaper's favorite chew toy. So I have had more bouts with death than a Hollywood stuntman, but I think I'm still here. So I think I'm still here because I had more to do. And it's service of people. It's helping people. And whether I'm helping them communicate, like what we're going to talk about tonight, or whether I'm helping them realize that they can kick an opioid addiction, or whether I'm helping them to see that their self-imposed barriers are breakable, kick them down. So I help people learn how to do that. I'm really here for service. I mean, really, it's what I do. I mean, I take people who come to me with their issues and problems and do everything I can to make it easier on them and find a pathway to light. So that is really what I do. And I do want to jump into, because I know we're going to run out of time. I do want to jump into, you said, please talk about communication.
Well, wait a second. We have enough time. Wait a second. I want to say one more thing about Barbie. Oh, sure. So Barbie teaches resilience. And one of the ways that she does that, besides uncovering our limiting beliefs, is through humor. And every time I talk to Barbie, we laugh so hard. I said, Barbie, we have got to start a podcast. This is just too fun to deprive the world of this humor. I mean, I call her Lucy and I'm her Ethel, because we just have so much fun laughing together. So we started Unstoppable AF.
Unstoppable and funny. Why? What were you thinking?
Unstoppable AF. So Barbie, yes, continue on. I wanted to let people know what a cute sense of humor you have. And if you want to catch Barbie and I, it's on LinkedIn, 9 a.m. every Monday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And we go live and have so much fun.
Yeah, we do. And if you're down or you're, just feeling sad, just go look us up and watch one of the episodes. I promise you it'll put a smile on your face. So we pick unstoppable people who are incredibly funny.
They are very funny.
You know what? It's all part of, it really is all part of how important laughter is. And you guys have talked about that today. But, laughter is it's not only the best medicine, it really does save. It really does save your mental stability. It does. So,
well, and we've talked about, I was so amazed when I was talking to, I can't remember who it was that I told that to, but I was telling someone about Norman Cousins and how he had, CJ. I was telling CJ.
Yes, CJ. Yes.
Not today, but when she was
when we run a show, right?
He was on our show. And when I had learned about Norman Cousins and how he used humor to strengthen his immune system to overcome a disease, I was blown away at the power, the neuroscience of how humor strengthens our immune system. So not only does it save your mental sanity and your mental
It
stability,
can save your life if you really put it to work and tell those baby cells to get moving.
it can save your life. So Barbie, thank you for saving our life with your amazing sense of humor.
Anytime, happy to help.
Everybody's loving your humor in the comments.
Well, and that's, I mean, and I guess humor is also going to follow me into the communication thing you want me to talk about, because communication, I'll give you actionable insights, and I really do want to help you. So, I mean, so hang in there. But here's the thing. Men and women, we do not think alike. We do not speak alike. We do not process alike. So the faster you get that into your bucket of tools, the easier this is going to be for you. So one of the things I found absolutely fascinating, men have a space where they think of nothing. Now, women, that is a concept that doesn't work for us. We literally invented an Olympic sport of how we think and how we multitask. So you have to understand that when you're in business or in a personal situation, you are dealing with a species that does not think or speak the same way you do. So you have to adapt. One of the things that we have lost in the world is a listening skill. And we have to learn to listen to the people around us. So if you listen to the people around us and you actually process how they function, there is a huge tip on communication for you. So, for example, some people that you work with or under you or in teams, they actually don't visually read things and understand them. So if you hand them a list of things you want done at the office, they're going to say they're going to do it, but it won't get done. And it's because visually they just don't process the same way, or it'll get done maybe eventually, but not in the time frame you want. Where some people say they don't hear things very well. So you need to understand who you're dealing with, whether it's in your personal life or your professional life. Understand the people around you. Listen and understand their perception, how they function, and what gets them motivated and moving. So communication starts with 1, listening, 2, understanding, perceiving, and recognizing. So, and then you have to understand men and women do not process the same way. Talking to a man is like your GPS or your Waze. They give you the directions with nothing else. Go left, go right, do here, move here, turn. Women, we're like this beautiful card from the store where it's pages of all this lovely reading. The problem is when we're talking to a man, their process, they're done. About 6 lines into what we think is this amazing explanation, we've lost them. They've moved on to basketball or football or whatever season we're in. So you have to understand that for women, when you're talking to a man, short, concise sentences. That is how you will get your point across. When you are talking to a woman, gentlemen, you won't kill you to add some flowery verbiage. If you say something that is so quick and tight, they think you're angry at them. And then they start to get that attitude. And men, you know exactly what I mean. You're standing there scratching your head because you thought you were being this incredible communicator, and they're on the couch and they're not talking to you because they're mad. Guys, communication breakdown is imminent.
Yes, absolutely. I think that is so interesting. So many times my husband will be like,
and score.
And I have said to him, you don't have to be so efficient in the conversation. I mean, where do you have to go? What is the big hurry? We're just at home. It's the 2 of us eating dinner. We don't even have kids at home anymore.
He doesn't process that way. He
Exactly.
doesn't understand what you're talking about. And when you're in about the third sentence explaining it to him, he's already left the room mentally. And he cannot handle that box that you have now set up there for him to open.
know. I just think it's hysterical because he's trained me to talk in bullet points. I'm like, okay, I can do it. But over dinner, do we have to do bullet points?
You know what? That's what you have girlfriends for.
Yep.
What you have to recognize is that you have girlfriends, or guys, you have guy friends where the communication is easy because you're all speaking the same language. But the minute that you have to talk to someone of the opposite sex, you have to put in your head, okay, so if you're a woman, I need to shorten this. So shorten this.
I have to say, Sarah Shepard Olson literally said that to my husband today. We have nowhere to go, babe.
The problem is, Sarah, you've lost him because his processing speed. Okay, look at it this way. If you're a woman and you're searching something on the internet, I'm going to guess chances are you've got 3 to 10 tabs open. You have all these tabs open. If you're a guy, you literally work with 1 tab. The rest of them magically close. So you cannot ask somebody who literally has only 1 tab to expect to be able to understand the 15 you have open.
Or the 100. My husband comes and looks at my computer and he's like, what in the heck? Why do you have so many tabs open? It's my brain.
Point exactly.
It's my brain right there. What a great
And that's the thing.
That is such a perfect way to explain that, Barbie. He's got 1 tab open and we've got 100.
Right. I mean, as women, this is so easy for us to understand. I have 300 thoughts in my head. I'm doing 6 different things at the same time. And I'm comfortable in that environment. It's all I know. But a man can sit down and think of nothing. Now, I don't know if there's a woman out there who can think of nothing. God bless you. Please share the secret. I have never been able to do it. And I have had so many people tell me that magic nothing moment caused fights because women didn't believe that was actually, but I have been convinced it is true. So if you can literally stop and think about nothing, and you cannot process the amount of words that women say, especially if they're talking to you, for them, this is just a very confusing and upsetting thing that's happening in the room. For you, you're like, I know you're an intelligent person. You are so smart. Why can't you understand this? Because they've shut down, because they've stopped listening, because their brain has taken a break and they've gone somewhere else. And it has nothing to do with you. It's literally you're expecting them to open several tabs and they have 1 tab. And it magically disappears when they're finished looking at it. And 1 more tab will then come up. We have to understand the way people around us process.
Yes, and there are some men that have 500 tabs open, and there are some women that have 1. And so yes,
oh, sure, there are exceptions on every side, and I promise you, there's exceptions on every side. But honestly, the majority of women and men function in such a vastly different way. And while we're talking about communication, I would like to make sure that I say that there is an action opportunity that if you want to take it on, I think everyone should try. Start recording yourself. Record yourself with friends. Record yourself. Tell people I'm recording you right now, but I'm doing it for my own edification. Record yourself and listen to how you talk. Listen to how you convey messages. There are so many things that we can cut out. 1 for business and 1 for personal. So if you're one of those people that keep umming and liking and things like that, if you're dragging that into your business life, you're losing out on your opportunities of growing in leadership. If you are constantly adding, because we do that as women, it's just a natural thing. We go into all these, beautiful words and explain something that literally could be done in 10 words or less. Start listening to how you do that. That's really important to understand. And so start start picking up. And you know what? Like, I know I'm speaking quickly right now because I want to make sure I get everything out, because it's really important to me that people understand before my time's up. But speak slower, especially in business situations. When you speak slow and you have a lower tone than a female, just very succinct, men actually pay more attention and they actually believe more of what you're saying. So recognize that as well. When you get higher pitch and you're going like this, many have a tendency to also back up and think, oh, okay, let's see. I'm going to play golf on Friday, because they start tuning that out. So recognize your cadence, how you say things, and your speed, as well as what you're saying, and the succinct, stop, quick notes are going to help move you forward whenever you're dealing in a situation with men in business or even a personal situation.
Right. Yes. Can you give us an example of where a man actually says some words when he isn't just like, one tab, but he says, some things, and we're trying to make sense of that. Can you help us with that, Barbie? Because that's another one of your translation skills.
Yeah. So one of the things that women need to do is we need to don't be reactive when men speak. And trust me, I'm not saying that this is an easy thing to do. But do not be reactive when men speak. Take what they're saying and remember that when, especially in a relationship, now maybe not so much at work, but in a relationship situation, men actually really do want to fix things. Their whole thing is they want to fix things even when you don't want them to fix things, even when you would prefer them to just go take a seat and watch football. But that's their basic goal most of the time in a relationship. So when they say something and it comes out in their, blunt 6-word sentence, it's easy to misconstrue that as something that's like, oh, they don't even want to talk to me. They're just rushing through this, or this is just, but it's not. Usually it comes from a place where they think they're being helpful. So try to remember the source. Now, in a job position, you have to be careful, because when men, there's some men like Mo Rock that actually value women and want to see them rise. So you also, again, pay attention to the people around you. What's their motivating factor? If you start listening to everything people say, it's amazing what you learn about motivating factors. Okay? So listen to the men around you. I sure know a lot of women in executive positions that are not making the money they should be making, but their male counterpart is making more. So don't assume that everyone around you is just there to help you. You have to know the people around you. Learn, listen, figure it out. But the supportive men in your companies, the supportive men in your lives, recognize they have a limited bandwidth when it comes to conversations. So stay in the bandwidth. When they explain something to you, recognize they will not flower it up. Most likely, they're going to explain it to you. Take notes and go to your computer. You can open 62 tabs. So for you can go to your AI and say, they just said this to me. What does that mean? And your AI will tell you.
I keep telling Barbie that she needs to make a bot so that we can have an AI tool. Just insert what they say and then be like, oh, that's what they're trying to say. I mean, I don't know about you, any of you tried Bordy out there. So it's an AI tool that's like a therapist. And you talk to Bordy and Bordy talks back. And Bordy has this very, very, just supportive, empathetic voice. And I forget that I'm talking to an AI tool. So Barbie, there's your next $1 million job. It's create an AI tool there.
I'll make a translation bot that will help you. You just go right to your phone, you put in what they said, and it'll translate it back out to what they were trying to tell you without getting you upset.
Exactly. That's what I keep telling Barbie. It's got to be the mansplaining AI translation tool. Oh, Barbie, this was
You know me. All you have to do is reach out to me. I'll give you that information. But
right.
you're right. It'd be easier to have a bot.
It is easier to have a bot. Well, Barbie, do you have time to come back later when we talk about the Women's Journal at the end, or are
Sure.
you do? Okay, well, just stay tuned.
Absolutely.
Okay, stay tuned. We will hear back from you again. So thank you. This was loads of fun, man. Talk about bringing the energy back up. Thanks, Barbie.
Anytime. I love everyone that's part of this, and thank you everyone for your incredible comments. And please keep listening and watching and learning, because we have had just an unbelievable day of powerful leaders.
Yes, and Lucy says it so well. She's brilliant. Thanks for everything. And you need to have your own show as well. Yes, definitely for sure.
Thank you, Lizzie.
Barbie rocks. Marie Bailey's still on. Go, Marie. Oh my goodness. Well, we are wrapping it up here. This has just been so much fun. Thanks again, Barbie.
Thank you so much, Karen.
Oh, sorry.
You know what? That was perfect. I will. We'll see.
Tab is closing.
Oh my God, you had a man moment. The one tab left.
Okay, sorry. What were you saying?
I was just saying, I will see you later. And I definitely want to be a part of the Women's Journal, because what you've done with that is phenomenal. And I love what you've done with the Women's Journal. So I would do anything to help you with that.
Well, thank you. Yes, we want to have you hear about Barbie's experience with the Women's Journal. We'll give her more than 2 seconds. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, my goodness. All right. Teresa. Teresa, oh my goodness, Teresa. Everybody loves Teresa Ashby. She is such an incredible leader. She was a guest on Unstoppable AF, and we just laughed and laughed and laughed. It was just so much fun. And whenever I am around Teresa, I just love her energy. In fact, I have to tell you how I met her. So I was at Indie Books International Awards, and the meeting hadn't started yet, and she was sitting out in the lobby. And I thought, I just got to go meet that woman. She was sitting out, against the wall. It was a table over there. There was nobody else around, but I just could feel this energy from her. So I just walked over and said, "Hi, I don't know you, but I want to." And she was so warm and so loving. I had to get right next to her and give her a hug. I said, "Is it okay if I hug you?" And she's like, "Sure."
That's what I'm here for.
That's what she's here for. And then everybody that came to that meeting came by to meet her. They didn't know who I was, and they didn't really care. But Teresa, and I said I felt like I was in a wedding reception receiving line because I got to meet everybody because of Teresa. And she led from the heart. Everybody wanted Teresa's expertise. They wanted to hear from her. So Teresa is an amazing entrepreneur. She is an adjunct professor at Loma Linda University at the MBA program. She has done so many things to teach about consciousness. She's an award-winning, best-selling author. She's a phenomenal speaker. She is a CEO where she teaches. She's a stratologist. And so Teresa, and she has a media company, Kaleidoscope Media Company. So Teresa, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and about your leadership.
Absolutely. Thank you. First of all, thank you. And as many people have said, listen, Karen, I'll show up wherever you ask me to show up. You are a bright light in my world of people, and I include you in my circle of friends and confidants. So thank you for that. And for me, my privilege is when I'm working with people is it's all about clarity, right? Like clarity in your business, clarity in understanding AI, clarity in technology, clarity in products and services. But when you want to talk about leadership, to me, it's about clarity within. Who are you? And so many people have said that today. Who are you as the leader? And the better we know ourselves,
the better we can lead. And somebody just said, and I wrote this down because I wanted to say it. So the last couple of speakers were talking about leadership as a privilege, and I mean, leadership is a privilege, but I also, in my heart, I believe it's a responsibility. If you're going to step into a leadership role, we have the responsibility to be the leader that role models, that is authentic, and really want to serve. And we started out this morning at 9:00 talking about servant leadership, right? And so for me, it's very much about heart-centered and trying to stay in that as we're leading people.
Yes, and you are so heart-centered. And your clients know that about you because you really care about them. And there could be, and I get pitched all the time. So I could have 20 people that are pitching me. Not sure where that's going. But anyway, I could have 20 people pitching me on how to market my business. But who am I going to pick? I am going to pick the person that their message resonates with my heart, that their message tells me that they care about me. Are they providing value before I even, pay a dime? Or are they waiting until I pay for them to see? Because if they're not generous enough to provide me some value first, then what does that say about how much they want to give to me? And Teresa, you have that servant's heart. You are so generous about the way that you do provide value and you do teach, and you really care about your clients, and they are like your friends and family.
Yeah. Well, thank you for noticing that, because that has been a key to building relationships, right? I think often we get in this rote, right? I got to get a client. Let's get the client. Let's serve them. And then we're on to the next client. And then we're on to the next client. We're on to the next client. And I really believe that our company, Kaleidoscope Media Services, my business partner and I, we have been very, very clear. When somebody comes to us, if it's not somebody we want to go hang out with and have dinner with and maybe a cocktail or two, then, they really don't fit into being our people, because we find we can't serve them as well as if they're our people, because it's just this beautiful give and take and conversation and communication. So I really emphasize this relationship. And then ask questions. Be curious as to what they need. Be curious to what I need differently as a leader, as somebody that's working with a client. Because I think once we lose that curiosity and humor, as you and Barbie have, love that humor, we lose our intent as to why we started businesses.
Right. And so could you tell us about why you left the corporate world and what you were doing there, and what it is that motivated you to make that shift?
Yeah. So I spent quite a bit of time in corporate, and I got to tell you, if you haven't picked up on it yet, I might've been a little bit of a maverick for the healthcare industry, because I really wanted to bring things to a current model, current business framework, right? But I also really believed in the balance of my staff. I actually got to know my staff. Like, I actually knew, sometimes people like, oh, everybody wants, a ticket to the movie theater or whatever. But the fact is not everybody wants that, nor everybody needs that. But sometimes in corporate, it becomes very much, you're all the same. We're going to give you all the same. It's this. And it just no longer fed my soul, to be really honest. And by the way, when I left, I was all like, I'm going to leave because I'm off to my next venture, and I'm going to do this because I have it all together. Well, the fact is I didn't have it all together. I was falling apart. I was burnt out. I was tired of people saying the word no. You can't do that. We've already tried that. Let's not do that. And my psyche was not well anymore. And so I had to leave to really save my soul. And it took me a while after I left to really find who I was. And still to this day, I have to have my coaches. I have to have my guides. We've talked a lot today about, divine intervention and the higher guides. That has been a journey for me over, this last year and a half. And I just constantly wake up going, wow, what I can learn from just sitting quietly. And I think when I was in corporate, I couldn't sit quietly. And now as an entrepreneur, I can really sit quietly and understand and listen to things and just be a better, well, quite frankly, a better leader. I'm not showing up messy like I used to.
Exactly. And you have such a higher consciousness. What is it in your life that you felt led to you having that higher consciousness? Because it's a rare thing, Teresa. You are a beautiful soul.
Wow. Thank you. I took a journey out of the country to a very, very remote location. And things happened. It was a really rough trip. And I think I went with pure intention of serving, making a difference in other people's lives in a third world country, where they're barely surviving. They don't have a lot of health care. And some very scary things happened. And when I saw these beautiful people and who they were, when I came back, I really had this, I just knew that I needed to be introspective and really have that soul searching. Here's the great thing about this. I didn't know, but I was building a beautiful community around me that was going to be my support system. I had no idea that meeting this woman over here, or meeting this woman over here, having these conversations, joining an organization that's a beautiful organization, and having this community of these women, I had no idea that they were going to be the ones that watched me cry and shored me up and let me be me and let me discover more of the divine intervention, more of the listening to my intuition. And I also believe what somebody said this morning, we're not ready until we're ready to hear it. And I was ready to hear it. And I had no idea, but boy, it has been an absolute beautiful journey.
Wow. What a powerful spiritual journey for you. And I can feel that. And you were building that community and you weren't even aware of that at the time while you were doing it. But it's because of the way that you love that those people, they're magnetized to you because they feel that love. They feel that generosity of your soul, and they feel your unselfishness. And that's a very powerful thing. So thank you for that, Teresa, because you set such a great example of building community. And that's what it's all about. Whether we're in business, whether we are working to lead in our own home, whether we are leading a corporation or our own as an entrepreneur, it's all about relationships. Yeah. And so how did you become so successful? Why does everyone love Teresa?
It's so cute because even my sister goes when I meet with her friends, she's all like, everybody loves Teresa. And by the way, I have two beautiful sisters that everybody loves too. You know what it is I think even in times when I didn't know myself, I knew that having an open heart was important. And I think even though, we all go through these things, the little girl in us has trauma, right? We don't have this. And then we try to be perfect. And that perfection is that mask. And while I was doing a lot of that and living with that mask, I think still I knew in my core that I wanted to be more. I wanted to be open to people. And I think I just kept going no matter what the problem was. Just Teresa, be there, just show up for people and open your arms. And, as I tell a lot about people by their hugs. And I think sometimes it was just about giving someone a hug and we just felt better. So, yeah.
Okay, well, that was the thing. When I hugged you the first time, oh, I felt like I was home. It just felt so safe. And you can tell so much about people from their hugs. I think it's amazing what you can tell about people from their hugs.
It's so true. It's so true. Yeah.
It's true. Wow. Well, Teresa, I know why people love you. And I am just so grateful because you love first and you love generously and you really you do you look at people and you see them. You see into their soul and you see who they really are. You see their gifts and you look past the flaws. And,
Yep.
and what a gift you give to people to see them as they really are. You see their divine being, and that is profound. Because most of us get hung up on the flaws and we forget who they really are. But one of the sayings that I have is that I am a divine being, and so are you. And when we can remember that about each other, that's when we can collaborate. That's when we can build those relationships. That's when we can move forward and make a difference in this world.
Oh, that's so beautifully said. That is so beautifully said. It's just seeing all of us, including yourself, and all of us for the beauty of the flaws, right? It's the beauty of the flaws and accepting that we just don't have it all together and allow people to just be. And I love that.
Yes, just be. Thank you, Teresa, for letting everyone just be, for loving everyone the way they are. You lead from the front, from the side, from the back. You are so inclusive. You lead everywhere you go. You lead in life. Thank you for your huge example. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for loving us enough to be here at this late hour of the day. I am
Absolutely
so grateful to have you join us at the Global Women's Leadership Symposium, Teresa.
Thank you and goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
You know, I'm going to jump in because this has just been an amazing day. You know, everything you have done, Karen, and I didn't mean to just jump in, but I can't help myself. You know, I've watched the amount of comments, like people, this has been over 2,000 comments. All right. We're heading to 3,000 comments. That means that the audience all day, Karen, has been in. By the way, Karen, I can't believe you're not just like dropping off the side. You and Barbie were funny as heck. I mean, I was rolling on that one. Barbie, if you can hear me, that was just amazing. But
and you next,
Karen,
Michael, don't worry, we haven't forgotten. You're going to get on our comedy show too.
Yeah, I know. Everybody, I got a story about that. Karen, I didn't know if you need to chat with Jeff for a minute, so I'm just here to support for a couple minutes.
I'll let you talk for a minute, and I'm going to go talk to Jeff.
Yeah, you talked to. So I wanted to say to everybody, you know, from the Los Angeles Tribune, myself, Mo Rock, we're so honored to have everybody on listening to what we're doing. It's been, you know, a great audience day. The comments have we're close to 3,000 comments. Give that a thunderous round of applause. The other thing too is it's been consistent action and motion. There's been a lot to learn. And what we're going to do is we want to make sure that we're going to incorporate all of you into, if you register. So you have to make sure that you've registered, and I'll have the team put that in here again, because we'll have a follow-up call like on Thursday so we can talk to all of you and get to know all of you. And we'll have calls after that. But we also have other shows coming up. We have a big leadership show, May 1st to 7th. We just had the Japan show. We have the Australian leadership show was coming up. We're going to have a Singapore show, Karen. You know, we have so much coming up that it's really about community and family. And I think that's the biggest piece that just makes it happen. So I just wanted to say hi to everybody, and then I'm going to give it right back to you. But the energy, the momentum, the action all day, give Karen, put a 1 in the chat. Give Karen a thunderous round of applause. And it's just been great. So thank you all so much, Karen. And I'm going to give it back to you. Are you good to go?
I'm good to go. Yep, we've got another panel coming up for our last panel for the evening. And then we have another speaker. So, yes.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
You're amazing. All right. I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye, Karen.
Thank you, Michael. Yes. Oh my goodness. Um, yes, Leadership Week is coming up. This is the flagship event of the Los Angeles Tribune, where last year we had Russell Brunson. We are over 2 million views and counting. And I want you to know that this is going to be a phenomenal event. We have some incredible people that are lined up already, and we are joining. If you would like to speak at the Los Angeles Tribune events, then you can contact me. We have speaker packages. We have speaker author packages where you can publish your story in the Los Angeles Tribune Women's Journal. And I would like to help you to be able to do that. You get to work with Mary Glorfield. We include a mastermind for a year where you get to meet once a month with these amazing women. Did you love these women? You'll be able to meet with women like that. We have industry experts come and teach and share their messages and share how they've learned and how we can move our own businesses forward. We have live events. We have virtual events. Don't worry if you're on the other side of the world. You can still contribute. You can still speak. You can still share your message that you are passionate about. So we are going to bring up some of the authors from the Los Angeles Tribune Women's Journal, and I am so thankful that they are here to share some of their messages with us, because I want you to hear from them. Now, I'm telling you about how amazing it is, but you might say, yeah, but, that's, maybe they, make me say that or something, but no, I am a changed woman. Since I joined the Los Angeles Tribune, people say to me, what has happened to you? What are you doing? Welcome back to the global chat. So we are gonna, let's see, Jeff, can you take that off for just a minute? We are going to continue on with our panel. Jeff, are you still there? Well, I don't know where Jeff went, but anyway. Okay. The fun, the tech. I mean, it's always fun, to see what is going on around here. We have to keep laughing, right? We just have to keep laughing.
We do.
We do.
It's the magic of life.
Yes. Magic of life. Well, so I'm going to start with you, Barbie. If you could tell us, what has your experience been with the Los Angeles Tribune Women's Journal as a founding member, and how has it benefited you in your business?
It has been amazing. Number one, Karen, the magazine you put together is phenomenal. And, I would just recommend to people, go online and read it, or one better, go buy one. When you have that, first of all, there'll never be another one. It's the inaugural edition. So you want that on your coffee table. But once you have the first one, you're going to want to buy them all, because they are so well put together. All these incredible women's stories about the things in their life that have been trauma or empowerment or resilience. It is just women talking about things that encourage and inspire other women. So every story is just phenomenal. And I think that everybody should have a copy. And this is just the inaugural edition. So jump on board and become a part of the legacy, because it's women's voices. We are elevating women with your stories. And it brings us to places like this. I mean, if I hadn't been in the journal, I would have never met Nicole. I would have never met Debbie. I would have never met all these amazing women. And we've done panels, and we've worked together, and we've done live events. It has been amazing. I have met so many incredible people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. So hands down, this has been a fabulous adventure for me.
Yeah. Barbie, you described it as a game changer for you. Why would you say that it was a game changer, and was it worth it for you to invest in this?
You know what? It was absolutely worth it, because I have put my time and energy into numerous different projects over the years. And, I'm always happy because I've put my name out there, myself out there. But the article that I put in, the time and energy I spent, the women that I've met, the people that have read the article and came back to me and made comments and said, that really resonated with me. Well, first of all, if you're writing something or you're speaking, there is nothing more important than someone coming to you and saying it resonates. So let's start there. So the fact that all of this was resonating with people, and then the doors it opened, the people I've met, and the people that have read the article and come to me and said something, it has just been this amazing journey. And I love every minute of it. And it has opened doors to helping more women. So if you truly are a generous thought leader and you're a woman and have a story to tell, what are you waiting for? This is your opportunity to make a difference, make change, and really help other women who may not even realize that there are other people that have had the same problem or the same life or the same struggle or the same trauma. So for every woman that you inspire and change, you've made a difference.
Oh, so good, Barbie. That is so true. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you for letting us know how this experience has benefited you. Because a lot of times when we think about, well, I've got all these different stages that I could choose to speak on, and all these speaker coaches that are pitching to me about join their program, join their program. Why join the Los Angeles Tribune? And so, Nicole, could you tell us, why did you choose to join the Los Angeles Tribune?
Yeah, well, Barbie explained it so well that, when I first joined, you're nervous when you first do these things. You're going to be speaking on stages, or you're going to be writing your articles, and it's opening a new part of you, and you're exposing yourself at a different level often. And I can tell you that it was probably one of the safest places that I've ever done it. It was one of the places where I felt completely supported, mentored, and I was part of a group of women who all cheered each other on. Every single person in this group is always so kind, so compassionate, so willing to help, which is so amazing. And I really, truly believe that these articles that are going out there are somebody's roadmap to healing, to rising, to doing something that they've never done before. And when they can see it through another woman, and they can see it themselves in the story, and they can see an outcome that they would love to have, that it really is something so important. And I think a lot of times we're so scared to just share our vulnerable sides or our stories. But in those stories is somebody's time to heal, and time to move, and time to grow, and to be inspired. So it has been amazing. I've learned how to do this, be here, which has been incredible, just so beautiful. And I can tell you, even our mastermind calls, I'll walk away lots of times learning so many things that I never, ever would have been exposed to. Never. I mean, to be part of the Los Angeles Tribune has such a long history of serving people and helping people, and knowing the way media works, and knowing what needs to be done in order to contribute, and just to be part of that expertise and to learn is it's hard to express. So I can't thank everybody enough. The opportunities have changed my life for sure, my business. It's changed the way I feel inside. And I have gained relationships that, like Barbie said, I would never have had. And I have to say, Karen, you are just such a beautiful, amazing leader. And when I say that she cares, she really cares. This is not something that she just does. It's part of who she is. And I feel that every time I have a conversation with her, and every time I walk away, I feel completely supported. And you can see, even by the time she put into this event today, that is how she lives. That is what she does. And it's pure, right from her heart. So I thank you with everything in me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nicole. And you give so much value to the group because of the way that you care about everyone, and the way that you support. You and Barbie are two of our star supporters. And it's so, it's just incredible, because we've talked so much about, women that empower women, and where can we find them? Well, you can find them right here, starting with Barbie and Nicole. They are incredible supporters. They win the prize, literally. They have won the prize at the Los Angeles Tribune for being so supportive. And I want to thank you, women, for doing that. And thank you, because you also lift the new women that join us who are trying to find their way. And like you said, Nicole, it can be a little bit scary. And when you first speak on the stage, but when you look at what has happened to you since you started speaking with the Los Angeles Tribune, and you look at where you are now, I can see the growth within you. I can see the growth within myself. And so it's so exciting for me to see the growth in the women that are joining with us. So thank you so much, Nicole, for your kind words.
Thank you. So
And
great.
yeah, I just want to say, Nicole, I can see it too, and I love it. You have just your light was always so bright to begin with, and then just watching your light grow and grow and blossom, you are such a bright, shining light. And Karen, we know how much you are amazing. The fact that, one of your favorite stories is the little engine that could. Well, today, all you did was chug up that hill. I mean, you were the engine that did today. And I just can't say enough about what you do and how you stand out and who you serve. And you have just been an amazing, amazing voice for women. And I'm so happy to share the stage with you. Whether it's here helping women or whether we're just making the world laugh. It's just always wonderful to share the stage with you.
Oh, thank you, Barbie. I love sharing the stage with you too, and with you, Nicole. And so, Barbie, I just want to ask you one more question. So after we speak and after we have our video recording of us being on the stage and it's gone live, what is it that we can do with that then? So then what? Tell us more, because being a marketing expert, how can we leverage, first of all,
it's leverage.
Yes. How can we leverage that moment that we are given on the stage and then after we speak?
To me, one of the most important things is the word leverage. Utilize what you've done. So build your website out. Make sure that all of your topics in the news, you can click on and go to the events. Make sure that you tell people, highlight it in your biography. I was on the stage. It made over 1 million views. I was on a panel. I was on a segment. Make sure you leverage every second of this. This is the Los Angeles Tribune. This is a global stage. There are many people in their lives who will never make it onto this platform. So leverage every moment of this. And by joining the Journal, you are opening the door to utilize the Los Angeles Tribune as a platform for leverage.
Yes. And when, a lot of times we want to become known as an expert. We want to have credibility. People make decisions based on know, like, and trust you. And when you are on the Los Angeles Tribune, you have credibility. You can lean on the credibility of the Los Angeles Tribune before they even know you. They want to know about what you have to say. And so I just want to add that element in there. And Nicole, I wanted to ask you, how have you leveraged the credibility of the Los Angeles Tribune and all of the PR marketing that we do for you when you speak?
Yeah, it's been amazing because first of all, I use it in all my social media platforms, which has been incredible. And I can tell you that, when I do master classes or when I'm speaking, I've been doing a lot more keynote speaking this year. And just to even have that on my bio saying that I am part of this and part of this organization right away, it's like doors just open because, right? It's right away because they know the reputation behind it. And the other thing is, I think, it also sparks people's curiosity. And it's like, how are you in there? What? How does this all happen? What? Oh my gosh, right? I think there's just so many beautiful things about having an organization that has been around for a very long time, that has, built their trust, built their audience, built the people within that are already there to support you. You're not having to start from scratch and having to build your own stage and own like everything else. You have people right there helping you create the stage that you want. And they have the audience and they have the people and they have the expertise. And so I can tell you that this being able to be part of this was something honestly, I can't even believe it when I look back at my life. Like if I look back 10 years ago, would I've ever dreamt that I'd be right here speaking to you and doing this, not even know. And so what I want to always say is that, this is the place for possibility. This is a place to put your voice out there. You're surrounded by people who want women's voices to be elevated. They want you to share. They want you to feel confident in your life, and they want you to have an impact in this world. Because what I do believe about this platform is that good news is what we really need right now in this world. We need to know what is possible. We need to know what we can do, not what we can't do. We need to know that there's people that are actually out there changing the world so that we can have that empowerment ourselves. And when you become part of this, when they say you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with, well, this is a lot more of them. It's a lot more. And they are incredible. And so when you're in here, you can't help but rise. You cannot help but rise, because every single person in here wants you to. And so it is probably, all I can say is this has opened so many doors for me. And it has also given me the confidence to say that I can do these things. And if I can, so can anyone out there. I'll tell you, you can.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love what you just said. And I just want to point out a couple of things. One is, as a podcaster, when I first started, I'm like, well, who's going to want to listen to my story? And I got my numbers. I have some pretty good numbers. I'm in the top 2.5%. But when you're speaking on a stage and you're wondering who's going to fill the room, you already have a built-in audience with the Los Angeles Tribune. We have a track record, 2 million viewers and counting, above 2 million. And it lives on indefinitely. You don't just give your speech once. It's there forever for people to go and watch and to search you and to Google you and see all the things that you have done. The Los Angeles Tribune provides that. And it also gives you the stage with people like Russell Brunson. When do you ever get to be on a stage with Russell Brunson? But at the Los Angeles Tribune, you can leverage that too. And that adds to your credibility as well. So I just wanted to add that. And then
before you, and just to add to that, our panel was in front of Russell Brunson.
Yes.
We were the opening act for Russell Brunson.
Yes.
And again, it is that moment in time when you do something live. If you do a keynote at a live event, most likely it's gone. It's a wonderful, incredible event, but it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
This is a living, breathing constant. You can go and watch over and over. And with all of the incredible thought leaders that come to the Los Angeles Tribune, there are so many amazing nuggets of information that you can glean. They're dropping pearls in every segment. So that's another thing. You're part of this amazing churning process where everybody is benefiting.
Right. And you just made such a good point, because it's a living, breathing thing. When people Google me and when I'm applying to speak as a keynoter, they go and listen, and they go and look at, wow, you have spoken a lot. And not only that, but they see the articles that are in the Los Angeles Tribune newspaper. They see my article in the Los Angeles Tribune Women's Journal. They see all the speaking. They see all of the social media that is put out, backed by the Los Angeles Tribune. This is legit. It's not just like I'm just promoting myself. They are putting their name behind me. And that is one of the things that you get as a benefit for joining. That is something very different than joining, Mary Jones' program over there. You get that credibility, and that is priceless.
With the support.
Yes, with the support. With the support. And I want to say, this is it's expanding. It's going more global. Like all the audiences that the Los Angeles Tribune is going into now, it just keeps expanding, and it's so beautiful. And the other thing I always also want to say is you can feel so good about the messages coming out of here. I feel so good in my heart about being part of it, because the messages are so incredible. And the last thing I was going to say is, when we were just talking about that it is a living, breathing document, that it's here, is I go back and I watch these often many times, because there are so many nuggets that you pay thousands and thousands of dollars to go to seminars, to listen to the people that the Los Angeles Tribune have on their platforms. And so to know that you can go back and watch what they say and make your notes and actually start to change your life just from just from those segments alone is so valuable. It's incredible.
It is incredible. It's like being on the ClickFunnels stage when you're with Russell Brunson. People pay big money to go and hear him speak. But with the Los Angeles Tribune, you get to be a participant and you get to hear that message for free. So the volume of people that attend as a complimentary gift, thanks to Mo Rock and the Los Angeles Tribune and all the team, Michael Silvers, Mary Glorfield, we're so grateful for Jeff Ross and Daniel Rousseau in the back, making this all possible and running everything behind the scenes. And that is what makes this possible for you to come. And then the audience sees you when they see people like Russell Brunson. And so I just wanted to let all of the audience know, if you're interested in this, we are accepting applications for our upcoming Women's Journal and for upcoming events. Feel free to reach out to me, KarenHallCoaching@gmail.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Karen Hall, the Queen of Empathy. And you can also message us. So just let us know if this is something that you're interested in doing. Again, Karen Hall, Queen of Empathy on LinkedIn. That's the best way to get a hold of me. And stay tuned, because if you thought this was amazing, we're going to have a whole week of this at LA Leadership Week in May. So thank you, Barbie. Thank you, Nicole, for being with us. So grateful to have you with us tonight.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Global Women's Leadership Symposium, sponsored by the Los Angeles Tribune. And I am here with Ashkan Tabibnia, with Vinay Rai, and his Dr. Harbeen Aurora Rai. And they are coming to us from India. And I am so grateful to have them here. Thanks to Ashkan, he was so kind to introduce me to them. And Ashkan, maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you connected with them.
God first, when you are of service, when you put others first, and there's a delicacy, and it's very. People ask me, Ashkan, when you have relationships in business, how does it differ? I tell them it doesn't. As you grow in business, and there are certain relationships that come, whether it's business or in networks, that they are like family, and the difference is. Could be moments, hours, days, and if you don't put any rules, as you don't put for your, let's say when you have your children, your husband, your wife, what happens is we drop all the limitations and the rules, and there's a sacred freedom there. And since I was 12 years old, I was taught, of course, not with everyone, with people that, you see heart to heart and you see what they're doing, you do the same. And in business and in philanthropy, you can have the same magic. I was introduced to Dr. Harbeen Aurora and Brother Vinay through Dr. Natalie Forrest, and told me one day, we love to empower women. And she goes, "There's this amazing G100." And I said, "Wow, it sounds great. Tell me about it." He goes, "You know what? They have 100 channels, chapters, that each one has 100 chapters, and it's really, the core is woman empowerment in all verticals." And I said, "Oh, I'm in." And I did not even ask how, when, what, just the idea somebody would do that. And I had the pleasure of coming as a denim advisor, that now I know Brother Vinay is the leading. And, it's been a blessing. I always follow them. I see all the amazing women, very, high status people who have statesmen. So the difference with them is, at the end of the day, they celebrate women empowerment. And I've been around many associations, pleasure working with many, women leadership all over the world, and men. I haven't seen yet a lady like Dr. Harbeen create a legacy, and it doesn't stop there. When as we are getting to know her, we had the pleasure of meeting amazing sisters and brothers through the G100. I was told that she has also 2 more such a society, but it's women only. It doesn't have the what we call the denim advisors equally. And at the end of the day, so you know what? She has created a nirvana, a garden of Eden for women, that they can really reach heights at any realm, philanthropy, business, local, national, international, just to know how I was brought into it. And it's been an amazing, year or two. And as like anything else, there's time for, for what they call the us serving them. So I want to make sure uh, by knowing Los Angeles Tribune, Mo Rock, how he represents women, and how you guys have so many empowerment, being part of some of the. I remember one time you guys had the 8 days leadership, a lot of women, and I wanted to make sure as a give back to have a token of gratitude to Dr. Harbin and Brother Vinay, so they can be part of a wonderful global similar concept vision that
Well, we lost our feed, so we will have to have Dr. Harbin and Vinay Rai on again because that interview was just so special. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. We are so grateful to have all of you, and thank you for sticking with us till the very end. And from Mo Rock, from Michael Silvers, from Mary Glorfield, and all of us here at the Los Angeles Tribune. We appreciate you. We appreciate you being with us. Stay tuned for more exciting interviews at the Los Angeles Tribune Leadership Week coming up in May, and we will see you then. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.